By way of just context, I wear two hats. One is I invest in India, but it's not an impact fund. It's a financially driven fund, and as well as in the US. So in the US, I look at women's health, but again, financially driven because I think it's a gap in the investing market, and we can come to that. In India, we look at all sectors in health. And India is, as you just talked about, is very interesting because the use of telemedicine, for example, and solutions that use cell phones are far more penetrated than they are in the US. And there are some advantages with the regulatory, which you talked about, Lani, both pluses and minuses in that you can bring diagnostics, for example, which are very much needed in the US, but financial investors are not investing in them because of the arduous regulatory process.
What's an example of that?
You can just take any diagnostic. The issue with diagnostics is that they have the same regulatory path as a drug, but the reimbursement for a diagnostic is much less than for a drug. So every financially driven investor looks at a drug rather than looking at a diagnostic. Likewise, in medical devices too, right now, for different reasons, because the market of buyers in the medical device industry has consolidated, and because the innovation cycle in medical devices is just to do incremental improvements. Right. That's also an area that's not hot for investing, whereas in India you can do that. So what I like is being in two places where I can see how emerging markets deal with it, even though we're looking at financial returns and not what you're doing, which is very much needed. It is to be able to compare and contrast, especially on regulatory, what should be there and what shouldn't be there.